As you've learned in the previous module, one of the top 10 complaints ASQA receives are about RTO's marketing practices and materials. Many of the complaints were around students not being informed of certain fees and charges and about not understanding the requirements of the course properly. I know that designing a marketing brochure can be challenging, as it's not just slapping on a price and putting pretty pictures on it like for other products in other industries. But I assure you it makes things so much more easier for your RTO if you provide the student with complete information prior to their enrollment. Think about it. If you are being transparent and providing your prospective students with all the information they need to make an informed decision, your RTO will less likely receive complaints from students about things such as not knowing the types of assessments undertaken during the course, or they didn't know that to source for their own work placements, or that you didn't advise them of the materials fee that they'll have to pay on top of their course fees and enrollment fees. All you've got to do is be clear and transparent. Put yourself in the student's shoes. Think about what's important to them and why they're undertaking the course. Think about what information they need to be able to make an informed decision. Let's have a look at what the standards actually states. Standard 1 states that RTOs must ensure that the marketing and promotion of its courses and education services is not false or misleading, and must include their CRICOS registered name and registration number in all written and online materials. And Standard 2 states that CRICOS providers must make a range of current, comprehensive, and plain English information available and easily accessible to assist students in making informed decisions, and ensure international students have sufficient English language proficiency, educational qualifications, and/or work experience to enroll in your course. What does this mean? This means that your marketing materials must not promise the students any migration or education assessment outcomes. Your RTO's information must be clearly advertised on the marketing materials. Your marketing materials must use simple and easy to understand English and not use confusing or ambiguous language or jargon. And your marketing materials must include complete information about the course and the fees that'll apply. Your RTO must also ensure that your entry requirements includes an English language proficiency component and an educational and/or work experience component, and that the students you accept meet those entry requirements. Now, I've noticed several clients accepting students who don't meet those entry requirements, and this can get you into hot water. I'll explain why. When you prepare your training and assessment strategy, you prepare it considering a student's needs, educational and work experience, and the cohort's characteristics. If you enroll a student that falls outside of the parameters you've set, this means that you have to create a specific training and assessment strategy just for them, because their characteristics and support needs are not the same as your target cohort. I'm seeing more and more ASQA auditors scrutinize on an RTO's training and assessment strategies and specifically request to review strategies and support structures to the cohort's characteristics and requirements. So, if you're going to enroll students outside of your target cohort, be sure to have a training and assessment strategy specifically prepared for them, or risk a non-compliance with ASQA. Standard 2 also outlines the need for CRICOS providers to have a policy and process for assessing and recording of RPL and credit transfers. I won't go over the recognition of prior learning and credit transfers again, as we've already gone through them in the last module. But I do want to make an important point relating to international students and RPLs, as I've heard a few stories where a small number of RTOs have incorrectly granted RPL to an international student based on their international work experience. An international student cannot apply for RPL on their overseas work experience. They can only apply to have their Australian work experience recognised as part of the RPL process. Now think about it. Other countries have different standards and different protocols to us, and they may not satisfy or meet our standards. Therefore, only an international student's Australian work experience can be taken into consideration when undergoing an RPL process. Okay, now I want you to read through the advertising and marketing policy, the enrollments policy, the credit transfer policy, and the recognition of prior learning policy to firm up your knowledge on standards 1 and 2 when it comes to international students, so that you're able to properly curate strategies and plans for your marketing campaigns and execute the national recognition process that meets the requirements of the national code.